So I have a thought about escapism and its relevance in our society right now, because for a long time people loved like fantasy projects, like big fantasy worlds, like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, anything that's really immersive, playing D&D, like fully immersing yourself into different universes, acting, dancing. There's like so many ways of escapism. Because, like, we people love fantasy, we love creativity. It's just something about our species. Like, we inherently have this creative energy. We're always creating out of the life around us. Like, we're constantly creating with our thoughts. So, where did this, like, need to escape really come from? Or, like, is escapism really to escape? Or is it just a way to play with the universe? Like, create different storylines? Is it not just a way of storytelling, of, like, creatively expressing yourself? Is it a longing for adventure, a longing for change or something new? Does it mean that our current world is too mundane? Or are we unhappy with our current circumstances, feeling rather hopeless, uninspired by the world? So is escapism like a reaction to something? Or is it somehow part of our inherent being? For a long time, we as people loved these big escapist themes. We love these immersive stories. We love finding creative ways of interacting with them. But yeah, is it longing for change? Longing for something new? Longing to break away from society as we know it? Like, why do we get so inspired? Why do we feel the need to create like this as a species? We're the only species like on Earth to create like this, to have the ability to really think. And I feel like that's why we kind of get stuck in existential crisis loops sometimes. As a species, we're very existential thinkers. But in turn, like, that makes us inherently creative beings because we're just like always thinking, always searching for something new. So is it in our human nature? I mean, fantasy gives us something to look forward to. So many great things have come out of escapism and like so many amazing, gorgeous stories. So much art that's been made years ago is still so very impactful to us now. And so like these stories, these like escapist themes, they've really been at the core of so many great creations. And I love that. Like, I live for it. Escapism has definitely helped me through a lot in my life. But one thing now is like it helps me build community. Like now I can like go dress up in cosplay with my friends, go to a con, play D&D and like immerse ourselves into different worlds, universes, storylines, interact with different kinds of characters. Like, it's so fun. Overall, I think just everything created around like these escapist themes, they're definitely impactful in one way or another. But at the same time, do you think that stems from an unhappiness with our current circumstances or like life as we know it? With all like the loneliness epidemic stuff right now and people just being so immersed online that they kind of stop interacting or wanting to interact with other people. And I feel like that's definitely leading to like a more like sad and like closed off world circumstances or like world circumstance or like less people are friendly and like people are only like scrolling online or going online to get that like social meter filled up. And there are countless stunning like fantasy games that you can play. Fantasy worlds full of lore. Like, you can literally keep yourself invested forever in like the countless things that's available to you. But it is also literal escape and distraction from our problems in some sense. Or in some cases, like the fantasy can go so deep that you're fully not like aware of reality. You can't even separate that from your fantasy. But I also think that escapist themes like really help us as people. Like, it helps us be more creative and joyful and yeah, just creative. That's the word here. And regardless, I think there's a lot of really gorgeous stories being told. I love seeing people exercise their creativity in that way and like just creating these cool things. But yeah, there's only so many ways that you can interact with escapism. And a lot of us do it quite regularly. But like, I don't know, I think fantasy does like a lot of good in the world. And like just being creative, being able to think, you know, outside of who we are. But I feel like fantasy has definitely become a big part of like our human experience, or just at least something that we find very exciting and immersive. So yeah. So are we really escaping something, or are we just finding more creative ways to interact with our world, to create art out of our world? What do you think? I was really inspired seeing this one video game trailer for a game that's getting released at some point in the future. It's called Project Tile and it's a South Korean game and it looks really promising. The graphics is one thing, okay? But it's just, what amazed me was the world building, like this universe that they created. It looks so beautiful, just full of fantasy and adventure. I've never been so excited for a video game before and I haven't even seen the actual game. Like, it's not even released, but this trailer is just really good. I know that a lot of the game is centered around like an old Korean folklore or something along the lines of that. I'm not too sure, honestly, but it looks so good. Like, it looks like such a cool fantasy universe, and like the characters and the size of the monsters that you're fighting. But that's the thing, all these elements make this game and this universe feel very immersive. Me not even knowing a single thing about the game or the folklore behind it, but I can already kind of project myself into that story a little bit, or kind of imagine myself playing that game, imagining how it would feel, you know, jumping so high up into the air and slashing that big ass monster that's like 5 times my size. You know, I feel like they did this really good job at capturing that immersive element, that escapism type of element, and building a cool universe around it. So yeah, I've been really inspired by this game. I thought it looked super cool. I made this painting for it. This is one of like the monsters or figures that they shown in the trailer. And there's this one particular frame in that trailer that I thought was so beautiful. I think like the main character you're playing as is getting picked up, and like the monster's trying to eat him, but he's like slicing his mouth open, and like you see the blood splattering like in all directions. That shot, that scene, I thought it was so artistic. I thought it was super cool. I tried to imitate it here, or replicate it in this painting. The glare is kind of, sorry, it's a bit shiny. But I tried to replicate that there. I thought it was super cool, super inspiring. So this is kind of like that. This is that little monster dude, or that creature. It has something to do with Korean folklore, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, I thought it was a really cool game, really cool trailer. Like similar to Dark Souls, like how big of a universe that's gotten, how people love like escaping into that universe, like explore in the game, sightsee in the game. That's like a very popular example. Like there are countless fantasy games out there, like so many universes that you can insert yourself into. So many games, so many things that you can basically, in a way, digitally have these crazy fantasy-like experiences, right? But that's the thing, the fact that so many people love immersing themselves into these escapist kind of games, you know, what's the cause for that? What's the cause for this deep need for adventure? Like that was basically my thought for this project. But it's like within myself, where does this need come from? Like, why do I get so excited for that kind of stuff? Why do we have such a demand for these like escapist games, for these big projects? The fact that we as a species are creating these new experiences, that means that there's a lack of some kind of experience, right? If we're longing for adventure, then that means that in our current world, there's a lack of adventure. This reminded me of like the Blue People Avatar movie, actually, and like Pandora. A lot of people are like, oh, I wish I lived there. I wish this was our universe. But at the same time, our world isn't that much different from Pandora. I mean, of course, it's not alien, but the life, the landscapes that you see in the movies are very often are very reminiscent of just nature in our current world, like the vast and beautiful forests and jungles that we have here. In a way, this fantasy actually exists in our current world. Like we're not so far from it, If you want to be like the guy in this video game, all you have to do is just like put on a cool outfit, get a bow or a sword or something, and just run around in the forest on your own, like go foraging for mushrooms or something. Go looking for cool rocks. Play D&D live in the forest. Get a bow, like exercise that creativity. That's why I love D&D. That's why I love role-playing and like stuff like that, because it takes that escapist fantasy and it kind of makes it real in a way. Like you can actually act it out in real life, which I think is fun. Like I think that's cool. That's my version of all these video games. Like I don't play them, I just watch them. Like, even when you're playing as a kid, like for generations, people have just been like doing stuff like outside, I don't know, outside, inside, whatever. Kids always have some kind of game to play. Kids always have some kind of fantasy to exercise. So once again, that's proof that escapism isn't necessarily always a bad thing. So when is it a bad thing? That's another question. At what point is escapism a bad thing? I also, since we're on the topic of video games, I know that there are people, like video game addiction's real. I know that that's a thing. People get way too immersed in video games that they kind of like, they feel less of a need to, care for themselves in real life. I know that's a real thing. But at the same time, like I'm so glad that these games exist. And I like Dark Souls, it's a cool universe. There's so many cool universes, so many like cool lore, stories. There's so much that you can find, so much that you can do. It's creating experiences that we otherwise wouldn't have without these games, without the means to do this. Like this interest that really gets developed when you play these games, like it's not worthless or it's not bad by any means. I think the only time where it could get bad if it's overconsumption, or if it's like you'd prefer living in the game more than living in real life. But then again, life is subjective. What the fuck? What the fuck? I don't know, I just wanted to talk about this and like present what I'm thinking about, because what the fuck? I'm really curious to know what people think. Like, what are your personal thoughts on escapism, and what do you think, and why? Why do you think What do you think about the fact that escapism is so readily available to us? Like, it seems like so much of our world is centered around escapism, or this like idea of experience something you haven't before, or be someone that you haven't been before. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like, what do you think about that? Like, why do we think we have this need for that kind of stuff as people? Or do you think this is a direct correlation with our current world events? The political and economic state of the world right now. But yeah, so please let me know what you think. I'm gonna get going though. See ya. This is my outfit though. Rate the outfit, rate the outfit, rate the Bitch, guess what? I got the ring.